Good morning, Auto One. So here we are today. We're going to be talking about how to use a jumper pack and how to jump start a car safely, and also how to hook up a battery charger. So what I've got over here is I have a 2004 Toyota Tundra, and you can see the battery here, and we're going to be showing you how to do that. I also have a 2003 Honda Pilot, and you can see the battery there, and we'll be looking at that. So what I'm going to do first is we'll come over here to the Tundra, and I'll get the camera set up there. And I'm going to take the jumper pack and show you how to jump start the car with the jumper pack. So a jumper pack has two leads on it, and what this guy is it's a very strong battery is what this really is. It's not a battery charger. You don't hook it up to the battery and then it charges the battery. You hook it up to the battery and it starts the car. I want to show you how to do this safely. I hope you're really paying attention so you don't have an accident. So number one, this is the red or positive battery lead. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the battery terminal, and what we're going to see on here is, if I can set this, I'll set right here, set this guy right here for the moment. What you can see on this battery is where it tells us right here, you can see the plus there, which is for positive. The negative is blocked by that terminal end. So what we're going to do, and I'll set this camera here just for a second, if I can get it to stay, is I'm going to take the positive end and go ahead and attach it to the battery cable, okay? And again, this is a jumper pack. It's a very strong battery. This is not a battery charger. So I'm going to take the negative cable off and unwrap it and bang it against the fender, which isn't a good idea. What most people want to do is they want to put this cable end, this guy, over here on the negative. And you should never do that. I had my oil cap off here. And the reason why is because when I hook up this second cable, this negative ground cable, I'm going to get a spark. Batteries, when they're trying to start a car or been charging, give off hydrogen gas. That spark can ignite that hydrogen gas and cause a small explosion. So I want this to be connected to some non-painted metal engine surface away from the battery, at least a foot away from the battery. So I'm going to come over here and go onto this bracket right there. Now I didn't see a little spark, but from time to time you will. So I've got the battery, the red from the jumper pack to the battery positive terminal, and I've got the black cable from the jumper pack to ground on the engine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the car and I'm going to go ahead and start the car. I want to be real careful that these leads aren't going to fall into the belts there or the fan and get tangled up. So I'll put the camera up here and I'll reach inside and I'll start the car. This is a manual transmission car, so I've got to push the clutch pedal all the way down in order for it to start. Here we go. And yes, of course it helps if you have the keys with you. All right, so now that I got the keys, I'll start the car. I'll push in the clutch pedal all the way, make sure the emergency brake's on and my right foot's on the brake pedal. So now that the car is running, I want to leave it running. So now that the car is running, I'll leave it running so that the alternator is charging the battery. To disconnect this, I'm going to come over here to the negative cable. Okay, there it is. I'm going to disconnect the negative, bring it back over here, and then I can safely disconnect the positive. I'll cover back down. I'm going to wrap these shut the car off. Right back. All right, one other minor detail. As you can see, I've got my safety glasses on finally. And what I'm going to do is just pull this over to the jumper pack and just want you to know it's got a little button so you can push it and check its state of charge. It looks fairly well charged. And I want to go ahead and plug this into my 110 volt wall extension cord over there. Keep it plugged in all the time so it's always charged up. Remember, this is not a battery charger. It's solely for starting a car that has a dead battery. Remember, I showed you how to do the headlight test to know if you've got a battery issue. If your headlights come on in their normal brightness and they dim slightly when you try and crank it, then you know it's trying to pull power from the battery. Looking on this battery, and it's got a 2 of 18 sticker on it, so we know this is a February of 2018, so it's a little over 2-year-old battery, so it should be plenty strong and have plenty of life in reality. Next, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and show you how to properly apply jumper cables. So I'm going to grab the cables. Here they are. And jumper cables are one of those things that everybody thinks they know how to apply correctly, and most everybody applies them incorrectly, and they risk the possibility of blowing up the battery. And so I have a pretty simple, easy method of doing this. So let's assume for a moment that the Pilot over here on my left, on the right of the screen, is the live car, and the Tundra over here is the dead car. I left my lights on, and it doesn't want to start, etc. So I'm going to start at the dead car, okay? I'm going to start at the dead car, and I'm going to go in a circle and hook these up, but listen carefully. So first, and I'll put the camera down so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So first, I'm going to take the red cable, and I'm going to apply it and bang it to the car, which is not good. I'm going to apply the red cable to the battery positive lead. And I'm struggling to get the cap off, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and clamp that guy on there to the battery positive. This is the dead car. Red's going to positive. Next, I'm going to grab this other red lead and come over here to the Pilot. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this cover back. And I see the positive symbol there. And I'm going to put the camera down. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing for a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this positive end to this battery. And this battery needs to be cleaned and serviced. So I've got it attached on there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so that's the second connection. So I started at the dead car, connected the red to positive, went over to the live car, connected the red to positive. Now back on the live car, I'm going to connect the black to ground on the battery. Okay, so I've got the red and black attached. Now, the last connection I'm going to make is this black cable connection. I am not going to attach this to the negative post of the battery. I'm not going to attach it there. I'm going to attach this to a non-painted metal engine surface like that. Sorry, the camera wasn't attached. It was showing. I'm going to attach this right here, at least a foot away from the battery, so there's no chance of that connection, which is the last connection, which is going to create a spark, from exploding the battery. Now what I'm going to do is come over to the live car. We'll start the Honda Pilot. We'll let it run for a moment. Its alternator is actually going to be sending current over here and start charging this battery. Then I'll get inside the Tundra and start it. So I'm going to assume that we've done that. We get inside the Pilot, we start it, let it run for a minute. You can even, if you want to raise the idle speed to maybe 1500 RPM, that helps the alternator to send more power over to this battery. And then we're going to get inside this car, to press the clutch pedal because it's a stick, foot on the brake, we're going to start this car. All right, so after we've done that, let's just say we did that. Now we're going to disconnect the cables. Always, the last connection you made is the first you take off. So we're going to disconnect in the reverse order. So we'll take this one, and I should get a little spark. And then I'm going to come over here to the live car. I'm going to take the negative off, no sparks. Positive off, no sparks. And then my last connection at the dead car, no sparks. And obviously, while I'm disconnecting it, the two cars can be running. And I would leave this one running because now its alternator, that round guy down there, is charging this battery. I want to give it a chance to charge. So one more time, I'm going to connect the red to positive on the dead car, the red to positive on the live car, the black to negative on the live car, and the last connection, the black over on the dead car, is going to go to a non-painted metal engine surface. Anywhere up in this intake manifold is fine as long as it's a non-painted metal engine surface at least a foot away from this battery. Okay. Now, so I was just told by an eavesdropper that what I just said was, if we get inside to start this car, you press the gas pedal. That was wrong. Don't do that. I meant to say push the clutch in because it's a stick. You've got to push the clutch in because it has a clutch safety switch. Right foot on the brake and then start the car. All right. Catching my mistakes, 4,000 at a time. Here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I've got a battery charger here. This is a small automotive battery charger. And I'm going to show you how to hook it up. It has a 110 volt lead down there on the ground and a red and black lead here. These, I can simply connect the red to the positive and the black to the negative, like that. That's what easy to do when you're holding the camera. And the black to the negative, and I will not get a spark. You notice that this guy lights up because it's getting power from the battery right now. I will not get a spark because it's not hooked up to 110 volts. Now what I can do is take this cord and hook it up to my extension cord down there safely, and when I do, that will start charging. I will, if while it's charging, let's say it's charging right now, I were to unplug one of these, I would get a spark and be in danger of blowing up this battery. So on these chargers, they don't have an on-off switch, they just have different settings. What we're going to do is we're always going to unplug the 110 volt cord first, and then we can come over and disconnect the two leads. It doesn't matter which order you disconnect them. You will not get a spark from a battery charger if its 110 volt lead down there in the ground is not plugged into electricity. So again, bring the charger over, attach it here and here, then plug it into the wall, and then it's charging. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that we don't disconnect a lead off the battery that could cause a spark because there's current flowing through it. All right, there you go.